In today's video, I first want to take you on a tour of my template, or rather, I guess, the state of progress with the template. I got some cool macro and a few other things to show you. And then I think we're going to work on this section. Maybe I'll just delete it and kind of recreate it, go through the process, very similar to creating a plan. But yeah, so the first thing I'm going to show you is the macro I created that allows you to switch levels on and off. So level 1 just has the one clipping plane. Level 2 has the 2 clipping planes associated with it. This one on the bottom too, right? So that's how I'm getting that effect. I'm not using the clipping depth. I found out that that's not going to work the way I want with some other things. Now you're noticing that I got all these planes and they're basically invisible, right? Those are going to be my grids, and this one is actually a level plane. And they're in the way, but I'm going to have a create macro that will toggle them on and off, right? So I'm not too worried about that. So I'll go to page 1. Maybe I'll actually turn that off. The cool thing about this macro is you'll be able to use it inside of details. So when you set up your section, I guess in this case we wouldn't be able to do that, but if we make a new viewport, say go like that, I'll just set this to shaded, just so we can actually see what happens. And now I'll type that, let's do level 1. So it'll actually make level 1 for us, or level 2 does level 2. Now this is pretty a little bit pooched, right? But I'm working on correcting all that. I figured out the problem. Now all I have to do is go through and I guess set up my layers. But yeah, so that's kind of exciting. Let's see, what should we move to next? This all comes from my AutoCAD template. I eventually imported better. I don't want to discredit Rhino or their CAD import. The CAD import works pretty good most of the time, and this is just me shifting the annotation styles. I think, I don't know, every time you change your annotation styles, it reverberates, if that's the right word, changes through your model, and I've just messed all these up, right? But I'm eventually going to recreate these for this template or similar versions. My titles might look more like that, but we'll see. I might go back to these. There's a previous video. I'll just cut to the gist of it because I don't have that macro right now, but I got my window tag set up. I got a way to automatically label these grids. So what my grids are going to be is, I can't really select it, but I'm going to have I'll select any object. You have your properties and your name. So the grids will just have a name, A, B, C, 1, 2, 3, right? And the tag will just do that, grab that name and display it on your, where's my grid bubble? Right there. And I guess other than that, these are groups where they contain text, and then the block. So the tag shape and outline, like it actually has white hatch under it. And if I bring that to front, I got to bring it to front. Well, let's put it in front of something else maybe, because the detail view won't print anyways. But yeah, I'll drag it over top of that. Yeah, so you can see that I got my, I call it a wipeout, but it's just a hatch colored white there. So that's all sorted. I don't want to demo that again. I want to get into the new stuff I created. I had some issues with my leaders, but I think I've got them all resolved. So for me, I like my leaders detached from my text. So all these blocks are actually just scaled down really small, because it seems like the leaders just work better with a really large arrow. And then when I do the macro, I just scale it down. That seemed to be the solution to that. So I have all these shortcuts. All these are set up in, giving away all my secrets here, but I do get help to do this, so sharing's caring, so I'm kind of paying it forward, right? So you can see all my intellectual property on display. And the funny thing is that the I switched from C# to Python. So the the leader macros is actually my last holdout C# code. So that's actually a plugin. But anyways, I might even migrate that to Python once I get better at Python, because I am feeling my way around in the dark a little bit. But yeah, I have all these run Python scripts, and I'm just passing arguments through that to these routines. And I already have my macros for turning off those grid planes. Actually, I'll demo that, because these will get in your way, but it's worth having them, I think. Hopefully that works. Had to load Python 3 for some reason. Whatever. Grids. If I type levels, I can turn the level plane off and on. And I'll have a macro, and it can just be, it's so easy to put that onto a button that just toggles them on and off. That will be a bit of a pain, because you're going to print, you're going to forget to turn your grids on, and then you're going to have to print again, right? But it's just, remember, this is a cheap solution. This isn't, like one of the fancy, expensive stuff, right? But yeah, let's go back to these for a sec. So I got all my macros. And this in AutoCAD saved me whacks of time, like just tons and tons of time. But yeah, and then I just do my text. Now I have a system for my text where I'm storing these. Again, these are actually blocks. Or sorry, these 3 are blocks. I haven't set this one up yet. Yeah, so if I do my T1, it's just going to draw my small text. This is very similar to my AutoCAD macro. I'll probably be able to improve it. There's a lot of junk appearing in the command line. There's ways around that. Now here's the thing. Let's do T3. Now this was working, and it's supposed to take, oh yeah, it did it. So it kind of stopped working on me, but what I got set up here is that whatever text is inside this block is going to steal the like the text size and the font name. Now there's something, I think it's if you change an annotation style, it's going to strip that information from these from this text. So I might let's see, I think there's properties, document user text. Maybe I can add that here instead, right? Instead of having it in those block containers. But the way all this is set up is like if you change these arrows, it'll change these leaders. So instead of having to go, and I did this because remember I have this in C#, right? So I'd have to go into Visual Studio and edit the code, and I really don't like the hot reload. I have trouble with it, and sometimes it just I found out how to deal with the plugin that's not letting me change it, or you get like an error message. I don't want to get into it, but it was not fun, especially like I'm a Autoless programmer, and it's just so easy, the implementation and stuff. So when you run into stuff like that, when you're not used to it, it's not normal to me. But I think some of these guys that are doing more in-depth code and stuff are just used to stuff blowing up all the time, and they come up with really good solutions. Whereas me, I just press one button, my code's loaded. There's no nothing fighting with me unless it's my own screw up. But yeah, with the code here, they got the new script editor, which is awesome, but it's been a bit of a battle to get things this far. So yeah, there's that. What else was I going to show you guys? I got the grid lines, let's call them grid planes or grid lines, to show up. I figured out why my line weights are all buggered, so I'm going to fix that. I'll give you a hint as to why. My strategy is going to be to just get the template set up in a manner that kind of steps around like all the potential problems, right? because just certain settings don't, like you can see these pavers, right? They're like a light gray, and I did that on purpose. But going back in here, they're not showing up. Even if I put the print display on, they're still not showing their color. And I'll pull my layers out in just a second. But yeah, there's so many settings that, you know, if you change one thing, there's 5 new possibilities, and each one of those possibilities has 5 things that it could change. It depends on your display mode. It depends on if you're using line styles. There's just so many uncertainties, right? And so many combinations of different things that it's getting impossible to know what's causing what. So more of my secrets here, I'm going to give away how I got those grid planes to work. You can kind of see the colors. In case I use different visual styles, like I think monochrome, I think I'll need to set the material completely transparent to get them to work. So I have this set up as such. Just gives you the, I guess, yeah, for certain visual styles, allows you to have a common material for all objects, and you might want to inherit the transparency. So with these, you'll need, basically your planes need to be transparent for them to work, and then you're gonna slice it, of course, and that's where you get your color and your line style. And this was key. Width scale 50. Yeah, well, I think if I use pixels, it steers around that, but I don't want to use pixels. I want my line widths to be what they are supposed to be. I want them to be compatible, and I don't want to zoom in and out and have them change, or, you know, if you change your resolution or you change your DPI, I don't want my lines twice as thick. So yeah, there's that. And then I gotta just go through, I gotta put if you use section styles, you'll probably, so if we go here, you can see just colors appearing. Some of this, like these lines are gonna be, these magenta lines will be no plot, but I gotta get rid of this red and stuff. So that means I gotta apply section styles. Oh, that shrunk on us. To every single layer. And there are a lot of layers. So I think this was that layer right there. So I'll just open that up. Uh-oh. Okay, so I'm going to pull this off the page. Yeah, I'm glad I could hit escape out of that, or else I would have had to restart this video. So what happened is the section style dialog appeared. So I'm just going to select the selection style off the page. There we go. Yeah, thank God I could get out of this. Turn that to black. Hit OK. Now you can see how that changed. So I'm pretty sure I can get rid of some of this other stuff. Don't know why. I swear that was just solid, but whatever. I'll deal with that on my own time. Okay, let's bring this back. But yeah, I got to go through here, set every section style. If they fix that bug, I'll have to come back again and clear all this to normal. We'll see. That's kind of one thing I'm concerned about, because now I know why my line weights were all pooched. But now if I fix it and then they release an update, then I got to go and fix it again. So I might wait until that happens before I share this, I guess. But yeah, so what did I say? I'm going to show you my template, show you some of my macro. I think I've done that more or less. And now let's just go through the process of creating a section. Very similar to a plan. I'm actually going to delete that all entirely. We'll set up the section, and then we'll improve a couple of the materials. Seems like a lot of work. Like I got to go through and set up all these layers. These detail layers do serve a purpose. They come, I'm changing my numbering, of course, but they do come from my AutoCAD template. And the idea here is that you pick the layer properties that are closest to what you want, And then you, I thought there was a duplicate button. I guess you just right click and go duplicate. And you can change that to, we'll delete that, to whatever layer name you want, change the color if you so choose, right? So you just pick your line weight from this list. And that's why I have the 10 to 15 is like your most common line weights. You can almost get away with just using these. But then for people that want more variance, more control, then you have all these, right? Your special bold lines, your fine lines, hidden lines, and then shades, and so on, right? You got your wipeout there, and these could be whatever color you want. They're just placeholder colors, basically. Anyways, let's build that section. So if I was doing this, I'd do a clipping plane for, heck with it. Let's just delete that section if we can. What I could do is just do that level 1 macro, right? Do level 1. Just delete that guy. Delete doesn't repeat, so I can just hit my enter key again and still have that level 1 macro on there. So let's do, I got a macro for clipping planes too that I want vertical. So clipping plane, what you do is just clipping plane and then vertical. I could just go off that, right? So I'll probably, and just so I don't have to do that again, I'm going to stretch it out just so I can actually select it. We're going to do 180. So I can turn the grids off. Let's drag this in a little bit. So I want just, you can see down here, that's my footing running along the long direction of the house. I want to get rid of that and have like that, I guess like the profile of my footing showing. But I also want to get that window in there just to have the section look kind of a little bit more detailed, a little bit cooler, I guess. Okay, so we've got our poly surfaces. I haven't joined these just in case, but you could actually Boolean union these. Another thing is I've been preaching that you should only model your site like as a solid unless you really, I guess, benefit from it. If there's no reason to model your site as a poly surface, I highly recommend that you don't waste time on that. Okay, so we created our section. Now, one optional step, of course, and I've done it, is to create a, now I forget why you do this. There are reasons for it. But yeah, you might want to do, in this case, I'm just going to do C-plane 3 point. I'll go like that. Since I have this selected, it just selects the name automatically and I'll overwrite it. But yeah, I think you can get away without having to do that step. I'm trying to think now, there are situations where I do it. I'm going to change the layer of this. This is one step that I might be able to automate. Already got my layer. It's building section 1. I'm still deciding on which color. I want it to be like a color that stands out, different than the plan sections. But yeah, with these, I keep forgetting my layers off to the side there. Let's go up. But yeah, so you have your building section 1, everything associated with a level. That's like these planes, reference objects and stuff I want on these layers, because what I can do is right click, select objects, and it selects that. So if that is buried in the house, like this, let's unselect that. Like this level 1 plane is. Uh-oh. I wonder what layer that's on. Let's see if we can get it. Okay, that's level 2's plane. I think I accidentally... No, I didn't delete it. Okay, let's see what's going on. Oh, I see. I just had the layer turned off, right? So there it is, right? So now if I do select objects. And that's the good thing about that macro, is that even if the layer is off, you can still use it. The clipping plane can be activated and deactivated through the macro with the layer off. Anyways, let's deactivate it and let's do this. So if I right click, select objects, that way you can get access to your clipping planes when you can't even see them, or they're like buried in your geometry and stuff, right? So so with this building section 1, I might do a sub layer, and that would be like any annotations and stuff you have to put on the section 1, and then you can just, you know, turn it off as needed, or go into these details and then hide in the detail, right? You can see that just disappeared. Okay, so there's that. And just to review, we created the section. Optional step, I made the C-plane. So you may need to do that. You may not too. It's kind of an optional step. Almost forgot why. Now, if you make this, you can just type plan. I knew there was a reason. So you just type plan, and now you can go here and save this view as section 1. You go OK, overwrite it, back to page 1, or even page 2, right? Let's do a new layout. Let's just do Rhino PDF. That all looks good. So I got a macro for viewport. I'll just type VP, go like that. Go into the view, set display mode. I'll go like that. Go to properties. 1 to 48. So lock it. Okay, so there's our section. Now we can improve this a little bit. Let's see. Let's bring our layers back up. So the first thing I'm going to work on is the all the ground, or maybe we'll do the concrete first, because that looks the worst. So I know what my... Try to remember to pull this on the screen. Concrete footing. Let's see, we got a custom section style. So I got my own custom concrete hatch. Maybe we'll review that too quickly. Since it's sectioned, I think I got to go like this. We're going to see what that does. So the boundary black, that's correct. Background, I think we want it. Let's do a light gray, a little bit darker. Okay, let's see what that does. Okay, that's way too thick, so... So I'll show you where the line types, you might already know, of course, but I think we'll make a less bold line type. Okay, so that's not too bad. So this is the slab on grade layer, this thing here, and you can see that the line weight is variable. As I zoom out, it changes, whereas this is more static. So We'll fix that after, but what I'm going to do right now is go into options. So this is all stuff I'm going to set up once I get this template all sorted out. But I figured a lot of other people had to go through the same process, or well. Yeah, so whatever line type the slab on grade is using, it might be using pixels, which will, well, it might change, it might not. I actually don't know at this point. But anyways, what we're going to do is make a new line type. Let's call it KCS bold. Now there's a glitch where if I go like that, right? It's not memorizing my settings, unfortunately. So I'll go millimeters, 0.70. Hit OK. I'm just checking my okay, now we'll go back into it. Yeah, so if you run into that problem where you can't, it keeps changing this back on you, what you can do is just change it and then hit OK right away instead of going to another line. So my standard bold is 0.5 millimeter. So I'll go like that. Now I got to go to that layer, the footing layer. So it takes time, but once all these layers are set up, that's why I'm fussing so much about layers. Once they're set up, you're pretty much good to go. I'll make these the same color, I think. And it's both concrete, so we'll use the same. So unfortunately, this is detached from your actual line type. So if I update my line types, I got to go back and do this again if I want to change those. So that's one thing I'm contending with. But anyways, I'll pull that back over. Now that looks a lot better, doesn't it? But yeah, I'll just show you what I was basing that off of, because I have my standard detail layers here, and then my bold. So for a basic drawing, that's a good set of line weights. But me, I'm kind of always nitpicking, always fussy. I know sometimes, like some drawings, you'll have a property line that's really bold. So that's about the boldest line I'll ever put on a drawing, is about 2 millimeters. And beyond that, I have just different ways of drawing stuff. But yeah, as you can see, let's just change that background to the slab on grade really quickly. Once you get everything set up, it starts to look pretty good. Oh yeah, I did say we're going to do the earth fill as well. So here we are. Thought I had a better earth pattern, but this one will do. Leave the scale at 1 for now. Let's be a little bit creative. We'll put it gray. Maybe exactly 50. With scale, 50. I just want to see what I have available here. I think I have to make a hairline type line style. But we'll sort that out later, I think. Oh no, let's do it right now. Because it says add to document line types. So we'll do that. I want to put it, let's make it transparent, because if we do that, then that, I guess that tangent seam won't show up. We'll see if that works. And it did. Remember that these are two different objects just because I've just haven't Boolean unioned the site together yet. Just want to make sure this viewport's locked. Yeah, if you ever start zooming out and you're trapped in the viewport, you want to lock this, zoom out, and then reset your scale, I guess. You have to reposition everything. It's a bit of a pain. Okay, let's go back into here. Those are usually 45 degrees, right? I'll hit OK. Try not to fuss over these little things while I'm recording. Eats up too much of your time. But yeah, this is the fun part of setting up the template. I've gotten over all the hard stuff. Now I can just play around with the appearance of stuff. I know the model's still a mess, but it's getting really good really, really quickly. So I'm very excited about that. I think we can polish this section up just a little bit more. One thing is I don't want it to go too far into the background. So what we'll do is hit Alt, copy this, do a 180. Just think it was too much having those windows on the other side of the building show up in the section. So that's a little bit cleaner now, I think. Okay, so this is still set. So what I'm going to do is just one smart step if you do add a section like that is to go plan again. And that's why I like the adding the C-plane there. Couldn't believe I forgot about that. Anyways, we'll go back to view. And I'll just save that. Now, if for some reason we deleted this viewport and recreated this section, now that would be saved with both those clipping planes applied. I'm just going to select that. I'm just going to check something, and this will be important for you to check as well. These have properties, and okay, so it says detail section 1, and it's checked, right? I'm going to uncheck this one. We're going to go back here. Now you can see that window appears in the back. That's the top of the chimney, right? So I'll go back here and I'll do this. I'll reselect that. Now let's do something we don't want to do. Let's do that. Go to page 1. Now I've sliced my plan view in half with that the second section. So I'll go back here, select that again, and uncheck that. So that's how you manage which, and this we can give it a name, call it section. Hello, section 1. Just make it clear. So if you ever lose track of what these are clipping and what they aren't, it might be a good idea just to name your viewports. Now I'm thinking of ways to try to automate this, because anything that's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 step process, you can script it pretty easily if the steps are similar. That's like same principle as these this, right? I can just instantly cut my level 2 planes. It'd be pretty quick to set up my section for that too. I'm just thinking of how to do it. It's not a matter of being able to or not being able to. It's more a matter of the approach, like finalizing exactly how I go about doing that. But yeah, all this stuff now, it's just playing around, making everything look better. I got AI to make me this that spat out all my layers, so now I can organize all of these. Got to build the line weights and stuff like that. But yeah, this template is pretty close to being finished. I guess before I cut this video off, I just want to review everything that will affect the appearance of your drawing, starting with the layers. The print width, I'm having a lot of difficulty getting this to show up like it's supposed to, and to a lesser extent the print, that's what these diamonds are. These are the print display color. But I'm still going to set the layers up with them where I want them. With a shaded mode, you get a really nice effect, I think, if you set your print display up to black and then leave these as colored, because even with the print display on, you'll see the colors of the objects. But I like working in shaded mode when all my lines are black and then my ISO curves are like a lighter gray color. But yeah, so your appearance affecting stuff in your layers are going to be of course, your layer colors, sometimes the material depending on your display mode, the line type if you've applied one, print width. I gotta say right now I'm not sure. There's so many variables. It depends on the display mode. One thing that's important, of course, is the section style. There's some stuff going on here. I guess I'll select yeah, I got the width scale set to 50, which is pretty wild, I think. But maybe I can fix that. What did I do with the... No, that's still on 50. Yeah, I was thinking maybe it was just because it wanted me to apply a custom line style, but no, it's still asking for a width scale of 50. Yeah, so something's buggered there, but as far as I'm concerned, as long as you can get it to look good, all these layers are going to have the settings you need to make your drawing look like this, right? So there's all that stuff. Now I'll go into the options, because that's the other place that's going to affect. There's several things in here that affect your display. The model space scale for your line styles. One thing I discovered is that, I got my units in millimeters, right? And I have 20 there. So you'd think that's almost 1 inch. That would be about 3/4 of an inch, right? But if I go... Let's turn those back on. Oh, that might be. Oh no, it's definitely less than 3/4 of an inch. Yeah, so something with the scale of the line weights is really off right now, because that's about a 1/2 inch. It's not as bad with the line styles, but when you set these up, yeah, something's weird with these segment widths. The width appears to be working actually, unless it's deriving that width from a cut object, and then it's going crazy. I'm having to scale this essentially by 50 in the section style if I'm using millimeters. If you're using pixels, I'm not quite sure, but I think if you use pixels, if you zoom out and in, it's going to change everything on you. I don't know how that's going to affect printing, especially if you use raster and you're doing like for heavier drawings, you're turning down the DPI, right? So yeah, you have your line types, your hatch. You'll have to probably enable hatch scaling. I think that's why my hatches look appropriate in layout spaces. But your model space hatch scale will just be something appropriate to the scale of whatever you're modeling. Small house is usually 1 to 48 or 1 to 50. Should be 1 foot equals when I'm drawing a blank there, what is that? 1 foot equals 4 foot 0. Yeah, and then like bigger buildings are or no, that's wrong. I think it's 1/4 inch equals 1 foot 0. Okay, yeah, 1/4 inch equals 1 foot 0, and then bigger buildings would be like 1/8 of an inch equals 1 foot 0, which is double this, so 96 to 1, which is roughly equivalent to metric 100 to 1. But yeah, I can tell I'm burning out. I was drinking a Red Bull at the start of this video, and now I can feel it wearing off, so it's time to get moving. So you got your hatch, set up your hatch scaling. Let's go back here just to demo that. Let's copy this. Let's unlock it. Let's go like that. Zoom right in. See, that hatch is the same size. Let's turn it off and see what happens. Yeah, so pooch now. We can't even really demo what I just did to my drawing. So you'll want that on. 99% sure you'll want that setting on. Got our hatch scaling, line types, model space scale. I think there is line type scaling somewhere in here. Render, I don't think that'll affect you unless you're using like the sun and shading and stuff like that. And you can incorporate that with, I guess, your technical drawing views and make it look really good. It does require more horsepower, especially when you get more views. So appearance is more for the user interface and stuff. I'm just scanning this to make sure I don't miss anything. I might. I'm going to consider this video to be a bit of a draft run at explaining all this stuff. Okay, so here's all your view styles, and here's where things get tricky, because depending on which type of view style you base your view styles off of, because my vector is based off technical, and it seems like different views are having different results when I print. So sometimes it seems like if I go back to the layers, right? Not layer state manager. There we go. Seems like this default print width is being honored with some display modes, but not being honored with other display modes, depending on the situation. Seems like some display modes really like to use the custom line types, and other ones, who knows. And same with like the section styles and everything. So once you get your stuff sorted out, you'll want to just pick a view mode. The good thing right now is I've done all this work and I'm not having to overlay viewports like I did have to do on my previous templates. So that's kind of a win. But yeah, I'm going to be very careful about how I implement different view styles. But yeah, so if you're using these, certain view styles do have vector display mode, and I think you know what that means by now, where it's you zoom in, everything's nice and sharp, right? They're all nice vector lines, no pixelating. These are some of my botched printing attempts, right? But yeah, I think that pretty much covers everything. I'm probably missing something, but that covers kind of what you need to consider when you're setting up your all your layouts and appearance. And I think early on with Rhino 8, I got kind of lucky. I just found some settings that worked, and yeah, I was just perfectly fine with those. Some kind of weird stuff going on there, but I'll sort that out later. And then I tried to do more technical stuff, and then I really had to dig in because I spent over a day just kind of figuring out all these settings, steering around all the little bugs and stuff that are going on. But once you get around it, I think the potential is there to create really good construction drawings. And I was stoked that I found out how to make these grid planes and level planes work like I intended. Okay, so that's over 45 minutes of me talking. I hope I didn't take up too much of your time or kind of help you learn something. Anything you want to know about this template, just please ask, and when I'll actually share or distribute it, I have no idea right now, but it is starting to come together, I guess. Anyways, thanks a lot for watching, and I hope to see you again next time.